and welcome to the 48th episode of the MyMuddlings podcast. I am your host Julianne, and I'd like to welcome all of you to... I've already got something stuck to my nose. I'd like to welcome you all to this episode. I know it's been a little while since I've had a proper podcast episode. I did have that catch-up episode, but I have had a pretty crappy month, which has, culminated in things having to be dropped, unfortunately. And unfortunately, it was the podcast, and which I really don't like doing because I love talking to you guys, and this is so much fun for me to do every week. So hopefully now I can get back into weekly podcasts. I'll probably have a little bit more explanation about what's been going on. If you saw my vlog, which was the last thing that I uploaded, that will tell you a lot of what has been going on. So you may already know if you saw that, but I'll probably talk a little bit about it at the end. So first of all, today I just want to talk a little bit about our Stash Down Along that we're doing over in the MyMuddlings podcast Ravelry group. If you haven't joined, please head over there and join in the fun. I have been very, very slack at keeping up with the threads over there for the knit along. I only just this morning, and it's the 21st of September, put up the thread for September, but like I said, September has been awful for me, so you have to forgive me. I don't have a challenge this month, not that I've been keeping up with my own challenges at all, and it's just because I just don't have the brain space to think about it right at the moment. I'm just all over the place, but yes, you can jump in there and start chatting, but, you know, I may be too late to the party for September. So if you put one post in there, you might be the winner of the chatter thread this for September. So yeah, I haven't had any new projects in there. Lots of you, a couple of you are doing lots of projects. I can't believe it, and that's fantastic. I love it. And yeah, I haven't even organised the prizes for the end of the year. I have an idea of what I'm going to do, but I haven't even done that yet. So I should probably start making a big list of things that need to be done, because I have so many plans and then I just don't remember them. And I did see a video or a post. Ugh, I've got chunky mascara. A post on Facebook, or it could have been on YouTube or something, where they were saying that intelligent people are forgetful. So hopefully that just, you know, it bodes well for my intelligence rather than my organisation and memory skills. Yeah, so I'm going to have to start writing lists so that I remember all of this stuff. Because I have a ton of things that I want to sew for around the house and things like that, and I just, oh yeah, I really must do that. I really must do that. And I mean, I've been meaning to sew draft excluders for the house, for a house, for years, and I still haven't done that even. So I've got completely off track now. I was talking about projects for the Stash Down Along. So yeah, I haven't done anything new for that, and I think I'm still lacking pictures for some of the stuff that I have done for the thread. So big fail, big L, but I'm not eligible for prizes anyway, so you know, I'm sure I can be a bit slack. But it's really, really cool to see all of you guys posting all your FO pictures. So I'll put in the card just so that you can get some more details. You can see our lovely sponsors, and as always, thank you so much to the people who are sponsoring our knit along, myself included. And remember that you do get bonus yardage if you do use any products or patterns from our sponsors. So they should be on the screen right now so that you can see them. And I have some announcements of prizes. Now, first up, I'd just like to reach out to Luann, who is Textile Grad again. She was the winner, or you are the winner, of our 300 subscriber thread of the prize for the Veronica cardigan pattern and the skein of my Nyasa Aran. And I'm going to give you another week. If I haven't heard from you by the next time I record, I will redraw. So for all of you others who entered, do keep posted for next week. I will let you know if I have redrawn. But Luann, if you do see this, please PM me straight away on Ravelry so that I can organise your prize out to you. And now I can work on the July and August prizes for the thread, for the chatter thread. I mashed them together because, again, I was super slack last month. I shouldn't do knit-alongs, I don't think. I'm just too slack. I'm too disorganised. But don't let that put you off. I will try harder next year. I will try harder from now. I will make my list. I will get my notebook and I will make my lists and try and keep on top of it. But anyway, I have 2 winners, one for July and one for August. And the lovely Erin of Remade by Hand Designs has offered up a copy of her Willow Fall cowl pattern for our July winner. And I did do a test knit of that. I'll pop a picture in so that you can see what it looks like with my gorgeous face. And our winner of July, the first person that I drew, was Britney, who is BR7394. That's her Ravelry new username. So congratulations, Britney. You are always very active in our threads. And funny story, I drew Britney first. I drew her post 11, and I'm like, oh, it's Britney, yay, you know, she participates a lot, so that's fantastic. And so I knew that Britney was going to win the Willow Fall cowl because I, you know, drew July before August because, you know, that's the way it goes. And then I redrew another number for August, so to get the August winner. And I checked the post. Oh, it's Britney again. I redrew again. Oh, Britney. Okay. I should probably pick someone else. So I drew again and I got post number 23, who was Karen of Simply Stashless. So Karen, you have won a pattern of your choice from Caroline of Clothesline Design. So if you want to head over to her Ravelry shop, I'm pretty sure I've got the show in the show notes. Yes, I've got a link to her shop in the show notes. So if you go to mymuddlings.com, it'll be in the show notes, a link to her shop. So please let me know which pattern you choose, Karen, and I'll let Caroline know to gift that to you. And Britney, please let me know that you've seen this. Same with Karen, just let me know that you've seen this, and Karen, of course, your selection. Yeah, just let me know that you've seen this, and Karen, your selection, and I will let Erin and Caroline know to send through your patterns. So congratulations, ladies. Thank you so much for participating. And lastly, for admin, I just wanted to let everybody know, if you follow me on Instagram, you will already know this, but last week, I think it was last Friday, I popped up the pattern for my mini skein cowl, and or infinity scarf, I think I called it. So this is available now on Ravelry. It is more of a recipe than a pattern because this is like infinitely customizable, honestly. You could change the width of your stripes, you could change the width of the cowl itself, you could fade your stripes together, you can do whatever you want. It's like the possibilities are pretty well endless. It's only your imagination that holds you back. So yes, I now have this mini skein cowl is now available on Ravelry. I'll just pop it on so that you can see. And as part of the pattern, I have told you exactly how I made this one, but if you do want to, you know, mix it up with different stripe sizes, yeah, like I said, fade your stripes together. Fading is super popular at the moment. You can do that, and this pattern is now available. It's only $1.50, so you know, there's nothing stopping you. So, so yeah, just wanted to let you know that this is now on Ravelry. I had a few people asking me for, you know, the for the pattern. So yeah, I wrote that up, and it's super cheap. So, you know, head over there if you want to make your very own mini skein infinity scarf. So yeah, I think that's probably all of the admin-y things that I have at the moment. So I guess I can get on to what I have been working on. All right, so let's get on to what I have finished. I've taken my mini skein scarf off, as you probably have noticed, because it's a little bit warm here today, hence the hair up as well. So yeah, let's go on to the first one now. You have seen a little bit of this because I have shown you guys before after I started it, and it is my Oracle shawl, which is a pattern by Vine, Kristen Lira, and there we go. It is huge. I don't think I'm even going to be able to get it into the shot, because in my craft room I'm actually super close to the camera. I don't know if you can really tell, like, there's not too much that you can see, because I still have boxes down behind my chair because I don't have anywhere to actually store the things that are in those boxes, so I haven't quite figured that out yet. They're still sitting there, so I'll show you little bits and pieces. So it's basically, did I say it was Oracle? I think I did. It's basically a pie shawl. So you start at the middle and you work your way out. And I use 3 separate colorways that I dyed myself. Now I use PICKS Preciosa fingering, just bare. I bought the bare yarn, and I dyed up the 3 different colors. So this is purple in the middle, and then it goes to just a shaded black, and then a sort of a white, black, and green and purple speckle. So hopefully you can see that, and then it just continues on. And I have put some decent notes about this on my Ravelry page because I'm trying to be better about actually putting notes on my finished objects over there. So I have written some notes on there and things that I may not actually say here, but the Preciosa fingering, tonal is what is usually called, Preciosa tonal. I actually have some just behind me in my stash. So yeah, I dyed it up. It's a singles yarn. I felted it a little because it's non-superwash. In this shawl I did 1258 yards, so I used pretty much most of, like, 95% of all 3 skeins. So there's a sweater's worth of yarn in this, guys. That's how big this is. And by the end you've actually got, what was it, 1,056 stitches, I think, by the end. And probably my only comment really about this kind of got me hooked to the 2-colour brioche as well. My only comment probably about this is of things that I changed about the pattern is I didn't do as much in this last section as you're supposed to. So basically the pattern, you have, this is lace chart A, which you do some of that here, and then you go to lace chart B. So you're supposed to repeat lace chart B twice, I think, but because I just started, because it's a 2-row repeat, I just started the first row or round, and I realised that I was not going to have enough yarn left. So rather than, because it's got an I-cord bind off on it, rather than having a patterned row with yarn overs and things being the last row, because I probably could have completed the first round of the second repeat with what I had, but I figured I don't really want to do an I-cord bind off on a patterned row. I'd rather do it on a knit row. So yeah, I tinked back the stitches that I had knit already of the first round of the second repeat, and yeah, and then I just bound off at the end. So yeah, and unfortunately, since I have knit this, I was going to wear it to the Royal Adelaide show, and I never got to because it was too warm. So I finished this and it's now too warm to wear it, which is a bummer. It's a bit cool in the evening still because we are in spring, because I'm in Australia, obviously. Yeah, it's still a little bit cool in the evening, so I probably could get away with it, but I don't really leave the house in the evenings very much. I don't go out and socialise too much. If you've been watching my podcast for a while, you know that I have certain anxieties and things like that. So yeah, I haven't had a chance to really wear this yet, but it is gorgeous and it's super squishy, and 2-colour brioche. Jules is a convert. So yeah, what else can I say? It's a great pattern. I have to say I did find, because I watched Kristen's tutorials, because she has a couple of tutorial videos on YouTube to help with two colour brioche. But I watched them, made complete sense, like no problem at all. But then when I went to follow the instructions in the pattern, I guess it's just the way that brioche is written in written form versus what it actually looks like. It seemed to me that it was back to front, like the description of what to do seemed back to front to what, to me anyway, maybe I'm just not as intelligent as I was bragging about earlier. Yeah, it just seemed like Kristen's actual physical tutorial of watching her do it seemed back to front to the way that brioche is written. So I don't know if that's right or whether I was just having a complete dim moment. But yeah, so basically, because my first ever piece was of two colour brioche is so super close to the beginning of the pattern, I basically ignored the written pattern and just went on what, on the way that Kristen had shown how to do the two colour brioche, and it worked out fine. As you can see, it's two colour brioche. So yeah. So this has had a very gentle block because I wanted to wear it to the show and I didn't finish it until the night before. So I actually soaked it that morning and popped it out on the clothesline just to hang out and hope that the weight of the water and everything would stretch it out. Which I guess it did. I mean, those yarn overs are very open. And yeah, I basically, I didn't leave it just in the one position. Like every few minutes I went out and sort of just rotated it around so that it hopefully would hang a little bit more, what's the word? I don't have my words today. Like more evenly sort of stretch out as it dried. And yeah, I packed it to take it to the show and never wore it. I didn't even wear my sweater that I packed. I just pretty much had a 3/4 sleeve t-shirt on and that was it. So yeah, that's my Oracle shawl and I love it. And the colours, I basically copied Kristen's version because I think I said in the last time I podcast, you know, things like money and availability and things was a little hard for me to get her actual Oracle kits that she was selling. So yeah, I basically made an homage to Kristen's colours and basically I've made my own versions of hers. This is like her Coven colourway. This is like her Grim colourway, and the white and speckle is like her Paranormal colourway. So yeah, I completely blatantly copied Kristen's colourways because I loved her version so much. So yeah, that's me Oracle shawl. And next up, finished item, is my Fern Shaw shawl. And I mentioned this in my last podcast about loving two colour brioche and saying that this would be my next project. And hey, look, it's finished. It hasn't had a block yet. Because I just haven't got round to it. But I'm super happy with this. I must say I did get a little bit bored with two colour brioche by the end of it. But yeah, there you go, look at that. So basically it has these super cool increases where it creates like these, like the branching off of the stitches, and it looks super cool. And I basically used my own yarns. These are Lovebird Lane hand-dyed yarns in my Peach Face fingering. And I used, how much did I use? 113 yards or 743 meters. So I used sort of, I think because my skeins are quite large, they're 525 yards, I think, per skein, or 480 meters. I used 3/4 of each skein around abouts, I think. There's a little bit more of the main colour, which is this grey that you can see on this side. That's my shale colourway. I use a little bit more than that because you do a couple of rows and then your bind off at the end in your main colour. And the other side is my Iced Lilacs colourway. So it's sort of a purple that has blues and reds through it. So I was super pleased how this, the Iced Lilacs actually knit up. I was worried that there was like too much blue and too much, you know, like the little blips of red. I wasn't really sure about it, but now that it's knit up, I actually really, really love it. It's like a beautiful variegated / tonal kind of colour, and I just really, really enjoyed it. And it's funny how at the beginning of the skein it looks a little bit more blue and then it gets a little bit more reddy purple at the end, so I really like that as well. And the pattern, I really like the pattern. I like the way it looks. I like the way it knit up. Although I have to say it was a very wordy pattern, which is not a bad thing, because especially if you've never done 2-colour brioche before, it's good to have it all written out so that you know what you're doing. But I have to say, I found it a little bit bamboozling because it was like too much information and I was just like, oh, what am I doing? But I eventually figured it out, and what I just did is I just noted down which rows I was supposed to be doing my increases on, and just basically thought to myself, just knit 2-colour brioche even on those other rows, and that was how I got through it. I probably only read the instructions on the first repeat, I think, before I jotted down which rows were the increase rows. So yeah, it's not a criticism of the pattern at all. It's just I personally, because I always work from charts usually in patterns, seeing all that text just kind of bamboozles me, because I always usually just skip all the text and go straight to the chart. But because it's, you know, it's brioche knit, it doesn't have a chart. So yeah. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the pattern at all. It's a beautiful pattern. I'm very, very happy with it. But yeah, like I said, I just got a little bit overwhelmed and bamboozled by all of the text. But just by writing out which rows were the increased rows and things like that, I went through it, not a problem. And funny thing is, I read the pattern slightly wrong because about the number of repeats, because I think it was like 8 repeats you're supposed to do, and then you're supposed to do another set of repeats, but you leave out the final row before you do your 2 rows, you know, a couple of rows of knit, and then you bind off. And I used an Icelandic bind off on this in case you are wondering. You can kind of see it because it keeps looking like garter stitch. I really like it, and it's pretty stretchy. But I thought I was actually adding a 9th repeat before finishing because I didn't read the pattern properly, because it's actually, so I thought I was doing an extra repeat, but actually I was just following the pattern, which is pretty silly. Well, it's not silly, but yeah, I just wasn't doing what I thought I was doing. So yeah, what else can I say? I haven't, as you can see, I haven't chopped my ends off yet because I usually do that after I block it. But so yeah, this hasn't had a block, but I think once it is blocked, it's going to be super, super big, and it's super squishy. And yeah, I love it. It's so good. And now, like I said, it's a little bit warm, so I'm probably not going to be wearing this for probably another 9 months. But at least I know it's there. And the yarn, because this is my newer Peach Face base, and it is a light fingering, so I was always a little bit worried about how it would knit up in fingering patterns, but this pattern, it was just so lovely. It's so soft, it's so squishy. I was really, really impressed. I was really happy with it. And like I said, I love the colours. It's Shale is a grey, and then the Ice Lilac is the purple and blue and red. So yeah, I'm super happy with it. So that's my last finished object that I have to show you. And now for works in progress. I have 3 separate things that I have been working on at the moment. Now the first one, I'm not sure whether I showed you the finished sock, because I do have a finished sock, and this is my LORNAS Laces, the second Soulmate sock that I think I told you guys about, because I was going to knit it for Simon, I think. It's how long it's been since I have done a proper podcast. I can't actually even remember. But yeah, I initially was going to knit these for Simon until he turned his nose up at the colour. So these will probably be mine. Oh gosh, my nose is itchy again. Sorry guys. So yeah, I have finished one sock. I have a hoe, and I have started my second sock. So I'm probably a couple of inches off starting the heel now, I would think, because I do 7-inch cuffs on my, these are just my generic vanilla socks that I do all the time that you guys have seen a million times, so I'm not going to go on too much about it. But yeah, yeah, I've got even more mascara. I hope I haven't got mascara smashed all over my face. I can't actually see because if you are new to the podcast, you may not know that I'm actually quite short-sighted, so I can't really see my face on the camera, so I could have mascara smeared all over my face and I'd have no idea. And I don't think that's something that I can take out in editing, but it's okay. So yeah, I'm a third of the way through my second sock and I've got my first one, so that's just my generic vanilla sock. And those I've just kind of been working on between things. If I need a bit of a palette cleanser, if I'm a bit sick of working on intricate patterns, I get out my socks. Or if I take them to wait for Simon to get out of work. So my second work in progress, if I can untangle it, is my herbarium pullover. Now I spoke about this maybe in the last podcast. I know I spoke about it in one of them about how I had swatched for this project and I cast it on. So I have been working on it. I'm now working on the back. So it's a bottom-up sweater. So there's your bottom. Not super happy with what do you call it, the ribbing, because this is a it's a Berger de France yarn. It's called Bigarelle, and it is cotton, linen and viscose. I think the viscose is those tweedy bits that's in the yarn, and the rest is cotton and linen. So it's actually not too bad a yarn to knit with. Actually, I'm quite enjoying it. I'm taking out some of the bigger pieces of the tweed because they really do distort the stitches a lot. So I'm taking out some of the bigger ones. You can see towards the bottom, which is now at the top because I've got it upside down, you can see that there's some bigger ones there that might be distorting the stitches, and I'm kind of, as I've gotten through the project, I've started pulling out those really big ones. So I've not long separated and started on the back. So I've got the front on waist yarn and I'm working on the back. And it's funny, now I'm holding it up, it looks super wide. I think it's supposed to have a fair amount of ease in it, so it's probably okay, but it just looks really wide. But yeah, it's it does taper. You do increase as you go, and it has it's a drop sleeve, because it kind of, the lace comes down over your shoulder and then you knit your sleeve. So I guess that's a drop shoulder. So it's probably why it's so wide, is because it will actually drop down over my shoulder. So yeah, it's pretty easy pattern. I have to say I'm not super pleased with the what's the word? The lace, because I know with wool it looks a little bit more even, but with the linen, it's linen and the cotton, it's not super clear, and it's probably not going to really get better because linen sort of, once you knit that stitch, it's kind of where it stays. So yeah, I still like it, but I kind of am now dreaming of perhaps doing a woolen one, one out of wool, so that I can, you know, block the lace and have the lace looking super pretty. It also could be because I am working at quite a large gauge. I am slightly larger than what the pattern has actually called for, but I am knitting down a size. So hopefully it will still fit and it will still be all okay. But yeah, that could be something to do with it. It's just because I'm working on a slightly larger gauge. And because in Australia, the reason that I'm doing that is in Australia, when it's hot, when it's summer, it is hot. And it's funny, I always see descriptions in American knitting magazines and things like that where they say, you know, perfect to pull on a summer evening and whatever, you know, kind of thing, and it's a cardigan, and I kind of look at that and I go, God, summer evenings, I mean, we could be over 35 degrees up until, you know, like 8, 9 o'clock at night, and it's just like, how do you how do you possibly wear a cardigan in the evenings, I guess, you know. So yeah, the reason that I have done this at a larger gauge is simply because knitwear is not really something that you would wear in Australian summers, and I don't think that this top would probably be worn in anything past early spring to late autumn here. But yeah, I just figured because it's going to need to have a tank top underneath just to, because of the lace and things like that, that I would do it at a larger gauge, just so I'd get more airflow, so it's hopefully not as suffocating as what, because I've knit a couple of other cotton tops and they are quite hot, even in not so hot temperatures. So yeah, that is why I've done that. And those were both knit in, my other 2 cotton tops were knit from PICKS Kotlin, I think it is, which is a DK weight yarn, and I find those quite hot. They're not really something that I can wear closer to the summer months. It's more, like I said, the early spring, late autumn that I can wear those. So I'm hoping that I might get a little bit more wear out of this because it's half linen, whereas the Kotlin I think is only 20% or something. And it's a fingering weight yarn, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to wear this, you know, a fingering weight yarn, bigger gauge, more linen content, that I could possibly wear this a lot more. So that's a very long-winded way of saying it, but I'm sure you guys understand what I'm trying to get across. So yeah, that's I'm already on my 2nd ball, so that's all I've got left, and I'm working on the back. I think I should have enough. Yeah, I might be playing a little bit of yarn chicken with this one, but we'll see. I guess the cool thing with that pattern is you do knit the body first, and then you do the sleeves last. So I guess I can do the sleeves for as long as I have yarn. So I think the pattern's supposed to have 3/4 sleeves. I'm not entirely sure, I can't remember now. But yeah, I figure I'll get the body done and maybe halve what I have left, or weigh it out, halve what I have left, and just basically knit as long as I can on the arms, and I guess that'll work out. Fingers crossed anyway. So I have one more work in progress, and this is something that I cast on a complete whim because I've been working a lot on fingering weight projects. So like my Oracle shawl and the Fernshaw shawl, and you know, socks, and my herbarium pullover, they're all very fine yarn, and I kind of spat the dummy one day and I'm like, I don't want to work with any more fine yarn, and I want to knit this pattern because it's a new pattern, and it is called Whitehorse, and it's by Caitlin Hunter, who is Boylan Knitworks. And yeah, it's super pretty. It's going to be really hard to see because I do have it on an 80cm cord. So it's an oversized sweater, and it is very, very lacy, with bubbles and things like that on the yoke, and then it will knit down. I'll pop a picture in so that you can see it, but it will knit down to reverse stockinette body. So and it actually gets knit inside out, I think. So that's going to be my first inside out knit. But yeah, I am, I think, nearly through the first chart repeat of the lace, and then I think I have to go back and redo like a few rows of it to get more of this sort of, let me see if I can find some. It's almost like a feather and fan. I don't think it is feather and fan, but it's very similar, like this bit here. So once you get to the end of the chart, you redo some so that you've got longer bits of that feather and fan type lace. So yeah, this, like I said, it was my spit the dummy. I want to knit something out of thicker yarn. So this is the end of my first ball. I actually have some more behind me. It is Bendigo Wool and Mill's Milky Way, and this was a limited edition yarn that they had. I can't even remember how long ago this was. If it was definitely before the start of this year, so if I finish this before the end of the year, I can add it to my stash down along. So yay! And once I get to the reverse stockinette section, I'm sure this jumper is going to fly. It is purposely, it has a lot of ease to it, so I'm trying to mitigate that a little bit. I am knitting down a needle size and a size up. So I know my gauge is smaller than what the pattern says, so I will get a smaller fit, because at the moment I'm kind of in between sizes, I'm finding, on a lot of patterns, and it's kind of like if I knit the size up then it's going to be huge, if I knit the size down it's going to be too small. So I'm having to fudge lately, so that's why I'm doing funny gauge things at the moment, in case you're wondering why I'm knitting all these sweaters at weird gauges. So yeah, this is Milky Way, which is 84% wool and 16% milk protein, or milk fibre. So I've never used milk fibre before, and I don't really, it doesn't really make much of a difference, really. I think the milk is supposed to be like a silk. I think it's supposed to be a silk type alternative, I think. And I have to say that you probably, I don't know if it really comes out on the camera, but there is a little bit of a sheen to it. So you've got a little bit more sheen there than you would with regular wool, just plain wool. So that's super lovely. And I did actually have this yarn pegged for another pattern, but once Whitehorse came out and I saw it and I loved it, and like from the very first time I saw Caitlin share a picture of the lace in the yoke, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to knit this pattern. And it finally came out, I think last week, because I started this last week, and I basically snapped it up straight away because she was having, I don't know whether she still has it on, but there was 20% off the pattern or something for its launch. So I grabbed the pattern, and I have some more of this that wasn't claimed for a project, but it's a very sort of, it's not a bright blue, but it's a mid blue that is on the brighter side. And I didn't feel like that would be a good colour match for the pattern, so I picked this other one, and I really let me get rid of that. There's a box behind me. Yeah, I just thought that this was a much better choice of colour. Like, I would much rather wear this pattern in this colour, so that's what I did. And yeah, I'm quite enjoying this. The lace is relatively easy. I don't know if I've done bobbles on anything before, but I'm doing bobbles on here. And funnily enough, my first lot of bobbles, I didn't really like the look of them. I thought they looked a bit crap. But then I watched an episode of the Yarngasm podcast. I can't remember which one it was now, because I've been behind because of not having internet when we moved, and so I've been behind in my podcasts, and I've been watching them out of order and things like that. So one of her podcasts, somebody actually asked her about how she enjoys knitting noops, which is basically a bobble, and she was giving tips on there about keeping a gauge a bit looser and all that kind of thing. And so I basically took the tips that she spoke about her knitting the noops and translated that into my bobbles, and it's made it heaps better. So that was really kind of, what's the word, serendipitous, I guess, that I had just started knitting bobbles that I didn't really like the look of them. And then, yeah, Kristen spoke about it. So I don't know if you'll be able to see, but that's a bobble right here. So down here. And look how crap that looks. Like super crap. And then I've been getting a little bit better. There's two. Just one there and one there. So keeping my gauge a little bit looser has really helped them to pop out. So yeah, I'm super pleased that I stumbled across that on Kristen's podcast. So that was super fun, especially because it was in part of her Ask Away, and I don't generally pay too much attention to Ask Away because it's somebody else's question. But yeah, I just paid attention, and yeah, I got something good out of it. So like I said, I'm nearly through the first chart repeat, and then I have to do a repeat of a few of the rows, and then I guess I split for the sleeves because the lace goes down the top of the sleeves. It's a circular yoke. So yeah, hopefully I'm not too far off getting onto that reverse stockinette, and hopefully then it will just fly. And the pattern is actually supposed to be a cropped type sweater. I don't wear a lot of dresses, so it's kind of, I don't know whether she designed it specifically to go over sweaters, over dresses, but I don't wear dresses, and a crop sweater really doesn't do it for me. So I had a look through her testers, the projects that they did, and one lady had done a much longer version. So she had full-length sleeves and she had a much longer version. And I do have the yarn. I have more yarn than what the pattern says that it requires. So I'm going to make more of an oversized, longer sleeves, longer body on my Whitehorse. So I might even look up potentially how to work out short rows so that I get a little bit of a high-low hem, so it's a little bit longer at the back. So if I can figure that out, yeah, that might be fun to include. So there you go. And I think that's it. I think that's all that I have been working on. Pretty much the only sort of shop stuff that I really have to talk about is I've been trying out new dye techniques. I think I said that in the last episode. Because I was sick, I actually ran out of more bare yarn before I got sick, and because I couldn't think clearly for near on 2 weeks, I hadn't put through an order. So I finally got my more bare yarn so I can do some more dyeing. But I have been doing some self-striping. I'm going to have 2 Halloween colorways, and I know I said last time I'm late to the party with Halloween. I think I said it in my blog. I'm late to the party with Halloween colorways because you'll be really booking it to get a pair of socks by Halloween. But I have done them anyway. I have one that I'm going to call Jack-o'-lantern, which is just a basic black and orange stripe. And I have another one that I'm going to call Paranormal because it is kind of ghostly. It's kind of, it's black stripes and purple and fluoro green stripes. So yeah, I'm going to have both of those. I got my jack-o'-lantern sitting over there, hence why I keep looking at it over there. But yeah, I got the Paranormal off the warping board yesterday, and I'm knitting up a swatch. I need to get the jack-o'-lantern colourway back on the warping board and make balls, pull it back off again, make some skeins and some balls out of it. So yeah, it took me most of yesterday to get just one of them off because it was quite tangled. So the joys of self-striping yarn. So yeah, I'm hoping to have those up in the shop. Hopefully maybe tomorrow, probably not tomorrow, but hopefully by early next week. So if you would like some Halloween self-striping, stay tuned. So yeah, I don't know, don't think there's any more shop news. So pretty much just blathery things, and the vlog probably tells you most of it, that I was sick. I had a really bad cold or a flu, I'm not quite sure, but basically it knocked me out for an entire week and I was quite unwell. And then even last week I was trying to get back into the swing. I was trying to force myself to get back into the swing of things, but it really wasn't happening. I was not organised, my brain was so foggy, I couldn't figure out what I was supposed to be doing or what I was doing or anything like that. So yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle, and even this week I'm feeling better. I'm back to walking Granger and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm still, like I said before, I'm going to need to find a notebook and make myself lists because I'm still feeling really all thrown out. I'm all out of whack. I just don't know, like I have fleeting thoughts of I'm supposed to be doing this, or I want to do this, and then I forget. And yeah, it's just my brain just doesn't want to work at the moment. I think maybe the cold is still up in my brain somewhere. So yeah, I've been struggling a little bit trying to just organize myself this week. It's a miracle that I actually got myself striping dyed on Monday. Because yeah, I've just been all over the place. And if you have watched the vlog, you will know that my computer packed it up, and which was really upsetting, because Simon's computer died earlier in the year because we had a lightning strike on our house, and it somehow fried all of the USB ports on his computer, and so we couldn't plug in a keyboard, couldn't plug in a mouse. So although his computer will boot and it appears to be fine, we can't access anything on there simply because we can't attach any kind of tool, you know, keyboard or mouse to it to access what's on it. And so his was already, and these are both iMacs. These are mine's from 2011, I think, and his was maybe a year older than that. It's younger than that, sorry. And yeah, so his packed it in, which was really upsetting because Simon's main creative outlet is Minecraft, and without his computer he can't play Minecraft. So he was pretty upset, and then I said to him, well, I don't use my computer when you generally play Minecraft, so I use my computer during the day for my work stuff and podcasting and things like that. So I'm like, just use my computer. So he was using my computer, and it's been fine. No sort of idea that there was anything wrong with it. And then it had a software update, like the operating system update come up. So I'm like, okay, well I'll do that. I'll install it and I'll restart it. And now it's just in a constant update loop, and we can't get it to just tick over. Like the progress bar will get all the way to the end, and it will literally sit there and sit there and sit there. We actually left it going. It'd have to be over 24 hours just sitting there with the progress bar complete. So yeah, we can't get into my computer. We've tried booting safe mode, which won't boot. We've tried going into recovery mode, re-downloading the software and reinstalling it, and it still won't do it. So although my computer hardware-wise is perfect, it is screwed in the software. So between the two of us, we have one working iMac. And the problem with iMacs is the hard drives are really hard to get out. You literally have to take the screen off the unit, which is a glass plate on your screen. You literally have to take that off to be able to get in behind, because there's no slots or anything that you can pull the hard drives out. So we're going to try and get someone who knows what they're doing to take the screens off, take the hard drives out, and we're thinking of putting Simon's hard drive into my unit and then having my hard drive accessible via a dock. So that's something that we have down the line to do with those, but because we don't know when that's going to happen, we don't know if that will happen, we went out on the weekend and we got new computers. And if you saw the vlog, you'll know that I was a little bit iffy on doing that because we don't have a lot of money. I don't have an outside of the home job. All I have is my yarn business. And so Harvey Norman, which is a local sort of department store, you know, homewares and whatever store here in Australia, had a 60-month interest-free deal running. So we were able to get a really good gaming computer for Simon. Apparently the specs are really good on it, so we were able to get that on 60 months interest free. So it's hopefully only going to take us like $20 a month or something to pay it off. And so that's what we've done with that. Plus we decided to go ahead and buy me a new computer. So we went with a MacBook Air. So I've really been enjoying that. It's a little bit of an adjustment because I used to have a full-size Mac keyboard on my computer, and now I'm sort of relegated to a laptop computer, and because I always use the keypad on the big keyboard, so now I'm having to peck along the top of my laptop, which isn't fantastic, but I do enjoy the fact that I can have it out on the couch and I don't have to go to the study and sit at a desk to be able to do any work or address orders or questions from anybody. So I'm finding that I'm actually using the MacBook more because it's more mobile and accessible. So yeah, it's just a little bit of an adjustment, but at least I have a computer that's working, so which is fantastic, which is also the reason why I'm here recording this for you, because I can actually edit it and get it uploaded on my computer. So yeah, that's been a bit, yeah, I'm not happy about having to buy new computers, but thankfully we've been able to, you know, replace them with cash and interest-free terms. So, and I'm not one really for debt. I don't like being in debt, so we're hoping to pay it off as soon as we can. And I'm hoping to repay my computer because we took it out of our, you know, it's supposed to be home deposit. That's basically what I call the account anyway. I don't think we'll be going to be buying a home for a very long time, but yeah, I'm going to hopefully be paying that back with my profits from Lovebird Lane. So if you'd like to help me out with my computer payback, head over to the shop and get some yarn. I have quite a bit in stock, so and I will be dyeing up more shortly because I have got my new order in. So if you'd like to help the computer fund pay back my computer, yeah, head over to the shop and get yourself some pretty yarn. But yeah, I think that's all really I have to talk about. Yeah, I think that's it. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed. As always, I hope you have a fantastic week. Happy crafting and take care of yourselves, and sending much love to everybody, and thank you. I'll see you next week. Bye.